Welcome back. You're watching Newsx. India's Operation Sindoor delivered a big blow in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir with the precision missile strikes reaching targets as deep as Bahawalpur and Muridke. The undetected and unopposed strikes, however, also revealed a critical failure of Pakistan's Chinese-manufactured HQ-9 air defense system. These strikes were in retaliation to the Pahalgam attack, where 26 civilians, innocent civilians, and security personnel were killed by Pakistan-backed terrorists. The Indian Air Force used Rafale fighter jets to launch scalped cruise missiles targeting high-value terror camps in Bahawalpur, Muridke, Muzaffarabad and Kotli, some as deep as 100 kilometers inside Pakistan. The neutralization of Pakistan's HQ-9 air defense system is in Lahore by an Indian drone strike marks a significant milestone in modern warfare, showcasing the effectiveness of unmanned systems against traditional air defense installations. So now the key question is, are China-made HQ-9 air defense systems reliable or not? We'll discuss this with our guest. Joining us on the show is Major General Sanjay Meston, defense expert, Mr. Sumit Peer, senior political commentator, Wing Commander Bharat Bhushan, former Indian Air Force, joins us on the program as well. Wing Commander Bharat Bhushan, I'll begin with you, sir. The question is very, very simple here. Pakistan, for the most part, has relied on the HQ-9. It has failed them, but yet we saw China come to Pakistan's defense yesterday, saying that as long as Pakistan's sovereignty is to be protected, China is going to back it up, which is obviously very, very palpable that China wants to protect its client, nothing more.
Yeah, I think, Jayant, good evening. I think there's a few things that come up there, because one, it shows very clearly the Chinese products are not as good as ours right now. And the market for the Chinese products might have taken a beating. And I'm sure Chinese must be blaming the Pakistanis for not having operated it properly or not having understood them properly, and thus bringing their market value down. Because when China is trying to sell this, but their defense products outside, it'll have a very bad effect. It's unlikely, unwanted fallout, but I think it is only pushing the Indian product against the Chinese products and showing the superiority of our products and our research. So it is probably a good thing to know that our Akash missiles, BrahMos, and whatever air defense systems that we have had in place are going to be in high demand, which we are already selling it to Armenia, Philippines, Vietnam, Indonesia. So I think it indirectly has brought out the flaws in the Chinese system, and the confidence that Pakistan had that Chinese systems are good, this, I think, it gone. Besides, China itself has to rethink whether their systems against the American force are going to be effective. So, all in all, I think it's a good thing that our products have shown better in comparison to the Chinese, and that's what going forward, it is a good, encouraging thing for us to have.
So, with Peter, what has been your reaction to what has transpired in the last 24 hours? The ceasefire, the Chinese support, and this barrage of misinformation coming in from Pakistan declaring victory against India. This is obviously completely fabricated. It has been taken out of context. From what we understand, that after the destruction of the Noor Khan Air Base, which is pretty close to the nuclear arsenal that Pakistan has been saving for India for so long, there was panic in the Pakistani army, because that was a message. So that was a signal that if we can get so close, then your nuclear arsenals are not that far away. And that is when Asim Munir dialed Marco Rubio and pleaded that please ask India to dial down, otherwise we will have no choice but to go nuclear. What do you make of what's happened here? And China once again coming to support its old ally. And remember, folks, that Pakistan is only being supported by China because it's a client state, and that CPEC is not possible without Pakistan's help towards China. But the fact of the matter is also, Sumit, I'm sorry I'm dropping a barrage of bombs as questions on you. It's also important to understand that there is a paradigm shift in India's doctrine when it comes to dealing with Pakistan and terrorism. But India has also found out through this exercise where we stand in terms of our relationship with the United States, our relationship with the Chinese, our relationship with Russia, and our relationship with Turkey. It's a very important eye-opener.
Vinny, thank you very much for having me on your show. As usual, it's a beautiful question. It doesn't matter how long or short it is, the contents have to be very important. Thanks for that. Vinny, when we look at this ceasefire, I think there are a couple of things. If we start with look, 80%, I'm telling you on record, 81% of the Chinese exports are to one country that is called Islamic Republic of Peshawar, Pakistan. So that is where they go. Another 20% go to Bangladesh, and there are countries which might try to buy here and there. China has been trying to create a facade, a gizmo. Look, my things are important. They're trying to pitch the whole world. Look, they lost a J20 deal to Saudis. Turkey is not buying from them. Egypt is not buying from them. So all their major deals which China has been tom-tomming about, they've lost all the deals. 81, 1 and 20. This is what the division is. Now, if you talk of HQ9, HQ9 has a range of 120 kilometers. HQ9B has a range of what China claims to be 300 kilometers. Even Chinese gave them PL-15. We have found intact PL-15s. They say PL-15 goes at Mark 5, that's solid propellant based, to propulsion systems, and it's the best, beyond visual range missile with EVV radar. But they have felt here and they have not been able to do anything. So if you look at this HQ9, first of all, what is HQ9? HQ9 is a jugaadbazi, thok peet ke banaya from a S-300. When Putin was asked around 10 years back that China wants S-400, he said, I will not sell it to China. Why? Because Chinese was reverse engineer and tried to make some gizmo out of it. So then they decided, okay, let's sell S-300 to them. S-300, if you look at it, it doesn't have the jewel in the crown. That is the rocket which intercepts more than 450 kilometers. And the radars are not so good. So Putin decided to sell S-300 to him. What did they do? Try to reverse engineer it. And they made HQ-9 and HQ-10, HQ-9B and HQ-10 out of it. So Pakistan has HQ-9, they have HQ-10, they have HQ-16, and they have FM-50. These are the 4 missile shields they have. And the problem with them is, a copy is not as good as the actuals. No, China still doesn't have S-400 because Putin decided not to sell them. When they sold them S-300, by the time ye jugaad karenge, we'll be at S-500 or S-800. So this will be useless. So Putin was right there when he did that. Now, in today's time, when you are having these Chinese gizmos and they're poorly maintained, the radars are not good, then there's a Pakistani jugaad, some contractor would have made money, there would not be line of sight of the radar, which will be very clear. These are some technical issues I'm trying to bring to the fold. Now, what happened? The speed of missiles has increased. The potency of the missiles has increased. We're talking of the hypersonic warfare today. And when you talk of these HQ-9s and all, they're outdated Chinese junk, which is dumped in Pakistan. Even a lot of their outdated stuff which Chinese army wants to get rid of, they give it to Pakistan. Some new gizmos they give it to Pakistan so that they can get a field trial done. And if you have a customer who is ready to do field trial of your gizmos and your toys and also pay you for that, well, mashallah, that is what Pakistan is. And even if you look at the PL-15, there was a lot of cry about PL-15, PL-15, but PL-15 was again a dud. And if you go back to Iran, all these Chinese gizmos were also in Iran. When the Israelis came, when the Americans came, 110 F-35s enter and move out of the area. Could Iran shoot anyone? Could Iran even fire anything? Exactly that happened in Pakistan. Our Heron drone, which is made by Adani Aviation, is an Israeli drone. It went there. It did what it had to do. We all know the specs. I'm not going to get into it. It just has 16 kilos of payload. 16 kilos of payload could detonate them, and they could not do anything about it. They could not even try to intercept it. So that is what the story of HQ9 is. Now, if you look at this, Pakistan was rattled because when we kind of hit on the backside of their GHQ Rawalpindi, Noor Khan Air Base, Vinny G is part of GHQ Rawalpindi. It is inside Rawalpindi garrison. If you could hit the Noor Khan Air Base, the message was very clear to Munir, we can take down your Rawalpindi. After that, they panicked, they called Americans, and not even they. Saudis called, Kuwaitis called, all the Islamic countries reached out to Trump and tried to, भैया हमारे छोटे भाई पाकिस्तान को बचा लो. If I can be as clear and as candid, because the Americans have met, there were other friendly countries who called up. They tried their pressure with Prime Minister Modi. It did not work. They went to Trump. And of course, Modi must have spoken about, oh, nuclear. We are just moving the nukes and all that. So Americans intervened. Ceasefire lasted for 4 hours. World's shortest ceasefire. At 9 o'clock, we're again doing what we're doing. By 11 o'clock, there's a press briefing which says Operation Sindoor continues. So if there's a briefing at 11:19 p.m. yesterday night, Operation Sindoor continues. So where is the ceasefire? Ceasefire doesn't exist. So people in Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and all these Islamic republics, including Turkey or whatever, who put pressure on Trump and wanted him to stop this war, and including Donald Trump, they have lost their goodwill. Pakistani screwed them in 4 hours. That is what it has done. So, apni auqat mein aa gaye 4 ghante pe. Now, there are good reasons for Bharat not to trust that. And the best thing is that Americans were also happy to let this war happen because they really wanted to tie on the field. If a Rafale goes, if a Sukhoi Su-29, Su-31 goes, how effective is HQ-9? If an Heron drone goes, how effective is HQ-9? They found that HQ-19, they are useless. Here, there was a F-35, right? F-35 is still a higher potent machine. And even with the, Su-31s, and maybe we have even sent Mirages, I don't know what went in, they could not do anything. So now Americans conclude this is the defense of Iran. This is the defense of Pakistan. Chinese toys are good for show. There's a red garrison in Beijing. Whenever you see Xi Jinping taking salami, there's a red garrison which is paraded. Usko parade regiment कहते हैं वहाँ पे. They are used only for parades and show, tom-tomming. So there's a tom-tom regiment which Xi Jinping always commands and talks about. Chinese got whacked in Vietnam, we need 43 years back. They could not win Vietnam. They have not fought any war. All these jugaad bazis which they were reverse engineering and all, they're as good as nothing. And if you look at J10, it's a chori ki copy of MiG-21. MiG-21 is outdated. You can imagine J10. Likewise, they have 17. I call it junk fighter under 18. If you go by logic, we have already put down a couple of them. ISP acknowledges 2 or 3 of them. So we were told GF-17 Block 3 will PL-15 is a game changer. Your Rafale is in danger. I said BS. It's not going to happen because we know तुम्हारी औकात कितनी है. And what happened? Chinese machinery and Pakistan's army की औकात हमने 2 दिन में गिना दी, Vineet. We could show them their औकात in 2 days. And after that, Munir got rattled, the ceasefire and all that. But after this, and on the political part of it, our options are open. Donald Trump can do whatever he feels. He cannot dictate terms to India. Marco Rubio cannot dictate terms to India. If somebody has egg on face because of Pakistan, is Rubio and Donald Trump, because their trust has been misled by Pakistanis, which is very natural for Pakistanis to do. And Chinese gizmos, Chinese toys are off. So that's why nobody is interested in let's say you take a J-35, you take J-35E. Even Chinese army doesn't use J-35 or J-35E, which they were trying to sell to Saudis at almost half the price of F-35, and कि 10 साल में पैसे दे देना. 10 साल का food maintenance included. You can imagine the plight. Whatever happened is good. Chinese toys are out of the game. So I think our threat vis-a-vis China is a little bit reduced after this practical exercise.
All right, General Mesto, has our threat reduced? Has India, realized that, our capabilities and our indigenous capabilities are far stronger because we have tested them now? As long as Pakistan continues to scurry under this financial pressure and, not have the autonomy that India has when it comes to producing its own weaponry, India will have an upper hand.
Beneath, very true. India will have an upper hand. There is no denying, and our technology skills and our everything, production facilities and indigenization, that build has been substantial. And I think in the last few years, the political directive to be everything make in India, and of course, indigenization. Yes, a lot of components are required, but like today, the BrahMos facility has been inaugurated in Lucknow, which will be producing about 100 BrahMos per year. Again, I think the defense minister has stated very clear that, the eco setup has to be there, ancillary facilities and, small scale industries, MSMEs. So what this implies is that within this defense industrial corridor, we need to have large number of these small setups so that everything is within reach. So it takes care of logistics, supply chain, everything is taken care of. So overall, in this conflict, which has lasted for about few days, I would say only lasted. It is not finished. It can continue. And today we are very clear Operation Sindoor continues. So a large number of lessons have been learned. And I think one thing has emerged very, very clearly. You asked a very clear-cut question, has HQ-9 failed? I would say yes, it has failed. And why it has failed? Because of the Indian technology is very, very superior to the Chinese technology. I think firstly, their radars have failed even to intercept.
Vaccines,
and even
pretty much like our vaccines.
Yeah, and even if supposing their radars have tracked some of the missiles or drones, thereafter the missiles, because the two components of any system are basically the radars and the missiles. And obviously the vehicle launchers are there, which has about 4 missiles per launcher. So a battery has almost about 192 missiles. And one has got the capability to intercept 8 to 9 missiles at a time, which we have seen how the Israelis had been doing in this Israel-Hamas war. So similarly, we have done exactly same. Our integrated air defense command control system has been excellent. We have knocked down all their missiles, oblique drones, but they have not been able to, knock out any of our systems. And that is how the message has been sent. And the best was this targeting of the Noor Khan Air Base. And yesterday also they tried, to breach the ceasefire after 3 hours. And we gave them a good blow even in Sukur and Peshawar. That was the furthest. And of course in POK. So this sent a very clear message that even if they do a minor intrusion, and that is how today the air headquarters has also made a statement that Op Sindoor continues. So what it implies is that Pakistan, even if they do a minor drone intrusion now, will be repaid back immediately and in a much better scale the way we have been doing it. And mind you, Vineet, so far, what has happened on ground? On ground only, the air assets have been used. And basically it is some of the missiles, some of the drones, that's only used. It sent a shockwave. Imagine the entire Indian army is yet not being utilized. The entire Indian Navy deployed in the Arabian Sea has not been utilized yet. So full potent power is left. And imagine if this is also put onto onslaught, what would be the state of Pakistan? So they have realized that their systems, which rightly I think was highlighted by Sumit also, they are all third-grade systems, Jugaad or hybrid system which the Chinese have developed, and they have got only two buyers, basically Pakistan, and now they have loaded into Bangladesh, so about 20% of their weaponry goes to Bangladesh, and they've been fooling them. So both the nations also now would realize that how they have been fooled, and perhaps the best part is Pakistan even does not have the money. Their economy is in doldrums. So the way it is, that is why they have been resorting to the low-cost option of terrorism, and terrorism will be taken as an act of war. So I think this has sent a very strong message to Pakistan Army, basically the Pakistan Army leadership, because they are the ones who are in control of everything. The political system are just like their orderlies. Yesterday one Pakistani major was mentioning that. So it is Munir and his top generals who have got the message very clearly that now they cannot mess with India anymore in terms of launching terrorism. And even if they dare to, they'll get a solid blow. So I think I'm very happy as a soldier that the Indian armed forces have done brilliantly well with only very few. See, the best part is only very minimum resources have been used, but see the impact. So this is again, I would say we have conserved our energy, we have conserved our equipment. Very few things have been used, and what a colossal effect it has made on the Pakistan nation. And if you, Vineet, remember the Pakistan Prime Minister Shahbaz's statement, it was a very surrendering kind of a statement, very low morale. You see his earlier statement, body language, and we will do this to India. And he was only thanking everyone possible. What was his speech? The purpose was not understood. So what I'm trying to say is that his speech itself reflects surrender. Imagine the impact on the morale of that nation, the people, the common people will ask a question. What have you given in this speech? You have only made us realize that, the best part is his speech has acknowledged that everything of theirs has been destroyed. Whether it is, he used the words in Hindi, Zakira, ammunition depots, air bases.
Asle ke ambar, he said asle ke ambar barbad kiye gaye, which is of course fictional.
So the Prime Minister of the country has himself acknowledged the destruction, and also he stated many Jawans' lives have been lost. So we have achieved everything, and the best part is, another thing which is to the
And
credit
so
of
what he failed to mention was the few hundred terrorists that we killed.
no, that he can keep saying. But no, he also mentioned that we have lost our soldiers, if I'm not wrong. But more than that, I think the best part is, I would compliment the Indian Armed Forces training and, the handling of the equipment, that no collateral civil damage has been done. And the best is the Pakistani media, of course, would have hidden it, but the locals are the ones who are clicking all these videos and putting it on Twitter and various social media groups, and that is how. So he himself has acknowledged it. The people of Pakistan has acknowledged it. Unknowingly they have filmed everything, and they have made very, very tall claims, Pakistan. In fact, yesterday, the moment, the ceasefire was declared, I was sitting in one of the TV channels immediately. I said, this is the biggest victory for India and we have achieved our stated strategic objectives. So I
Right.
consider it as a victory.
Absolutely right, sir. And of course, Pakistan went on to violate that ceasefire for another 3 hours. Nothing that comes out of their mouth can be trusted. And Wing Commander Bhushan, the continuous claim that Pakistan has been making of downing 5 of our aircrafts, how ridiculous is that? In this day and age where every kid has a cell phone with a camera, how can you make such claims? And of course, well, the answer lies in my question itself. When your defense minister can go on to say there are sources, the social media channels, then obviously Pakistan can say anything.
Vinit ji, I think first thing we have to understand that right from 1947, if you see the history or birth of Pakistan, it has been a genetically diseased country. Today, there is no coordination between the political establishment and the army. Now you compare that with what we did here. The Prime Minister had a team. We had regular meetings with people. Authority of the Prime Minister, democratically elected government, they're sitting there. And there it was the army. Can you imagine the Secretary of State of America calling the Army General asking about how to do the ceasefire? Not the Prime Minister, because obviously the Prime Minister may have given them an indication that, look, boy, this is a rogue guy, I can't do much. He's just not listening to me. So therefore, the threat or something must have come from the Americans to him. But it was very clearly how dignified, how planned, how unified we were. And every arm of the government, or for that matter, country, apart from the armed forces, took part effectively in ensuring that we have a victory here. And probably, my only regret that I have is this whole thing. We should have got Hafiz Saeed and a couple of others arrested and brought back. That should have been part of the concession that we made, that look, we would like to have those Dawood and couple of his cohorts back here, just like we've got the Tawarrana, and that would have been something icing on the cake. And that is one thing that probably, this is my view. The political team is very mature and comfortable and doing what they're doing, and very competent.
And Sumit Peer, let's also understand that the Pakistani establishment, the military, has this unseen, this fragile support of the Islamic Ummah as well. We are focusing on IMF, we are focusing on China, and we are focusing on the Americans and the World Bank. But the fact of the matter is that most of the IOC countries have been supporting Pakistan. I mean, it's ridiculous to think that a country can be run for a few months on a couple of $1 billion.
Vinit, look, Iman Taqwa, Jihad Fizibillah, motto of the Pakistan Army. There's another famous saying, Tera mera kya rishta la ilaha illallah. That works in the Islamic world. Let's have these two things as the basic. Iske aspas sari kahani ghumti hai. If we think today Saudis will not help Pakistanis, the best they can do to you is be neutral. But if you think they will help you and go against them, that is not going to happen. I have been very clear on that from day one. It's not, I'm saying this for years. Best you can get is they will be neutral. Chup karenge. But if you think they are going to support and talk against Pakistan, today in the Islamic world was Hamas, Hezbollah, Islamic Jihad, where they even called terrorists by even one Islamic country. When Israel was beating the shit out of Hamas, all the Islamic countries, 57 of them met in Riyadh. Raisi goes to Riyadh after 30 years, 30 saal baad. And they have a joint picture to send a picture to the world. And what is common here is for the people of Palestine, because Hamas is Muslim. So, and Jews are killing Muslims, so we want to go. Though in the Muslim world, they kill each other. That's perfectly all right. But when somebody else touches them, then they will get all together and have this picture, what I call the United Colors of Benetton. 57 people, koi chota, koi lamba, koi gora, koi kala. They'll all stick a picture and throw to the world. This is what we are. Look, why does Shahbaz Sharif need to thank Amir of Qatar, Saudis, Bahrainis, Kuwaitis? I mean, then he says, "Bina China ke tum kuch nahi," which I understand. He's the boot polisher of China. That part is okay. But he's sending the whole of the Islamic world, and Turkey was with them. Azerbaijan, out of everybody, was sending the weapons. So let's not be in this illusion that they will be kind of done with them. Now, the logical question is, whatever is gone is gone. I mean, a lot of people think, oh, great friends with the Islamic world. No, best they can do with you is neutral. Don't expect them like this. 0 is the best state for them. Plus, minus won't happen. Worst cases, they will be at -5. Now, that is how it works. Now, what is the way forward? The way forward is I have been recommending and requesting only 2 things must go.
All right.
First, word proportional. Second, calibration. You have to be preemptive and you don't have to retaliate. You have to be preemptive. Don't give this proportional retaliation. They fire one machine gun, one fire one machine gun. वो एक गोला चलाएंगे, हम एक गोला चलाएंगे. Like this, they can pull you into war, which can last for months, and they can be perpetually bounding our boundaries and putting our people on the blackouts. So if we get rid of these two things, we are preemptive and we are not proportional. We can settle this very fast, because every time Saudis and Kuwaitis and Trump and all are not going to use their or burn their goodwill in bailing them out. They have done it once, Vineet. There won't be a lot of times, and we are under no compulsion to listen to them next time. One time I listen to you, okay, I give you face, but next time there's no compulsion, because after 4 hours, the world's shortest ceasefire ended, and there is no ceasefire today. I don't know what is going to happen tonight. We might be awake whole night, you, me, and others, talking about when the next attack is coming from. That's how it is going to happen.
Okay.
Do we want to live in this state to perpetuity? That's a call we as a nation have to take.
Absolutely. Great points. Thank you everyone for being a part of this conversation.